Hello, my name is Dominic James. I'm one of the teachers of the Converged Media course, also called the Principles of Broadcasting course. This is a brand new course that we're doing, which will introduce students to all the areas which are available for them in the communications suite, which is TV, radio, yearbook, and newspaper. The beauty of this new course is that it gives students a firm grounding in the basic rules of journalism, but also gives them the opportunity to try out the skills required to be live on air, to actually be behind a camera or in front of the camera, to take great photographs, to think about layout, to think about the way in which you can write to produce a really, really good news article. So they get a sprinkling of all those things during this course. And at the end of the course, they can either go on to specialise in one of the four areas, so Highlight, the newspaper, Pinnacle, yearbook, CHTV, our TV station, or WHJE, the radio station. So this is a prerequisite for any of those courses. They can take those courses for the next 3 years in high school. So this is the first year, perhaps, of a 4-year course in any of those four areas. What do we actually do in the course? Well, what's really important to begin with is to make sure that the students are well grounded in the basics of what's required as a journalist. So what makes good news? What makes a good story? How can we trust the sources that we're using to write stories? How do we actually write those things in an effective way? What laws must we be what laws must we know about? What ethics must we consider when we're writing stories? These are all fundamental basics of journalism. And in the first few weeks of the course, these are the things that we focus on. While they might be a little bit more academic than what we'll do later on, they are absolutely essential to make sure that students don't mess up and say or write the wrong thing. So, for example, our radio station, WHJE, it's an FCC fully licensed FM radio station, 91.3 FM, or WHJ.com, listen live there. Because that is going live, the students have to be completely aware that everything that they say must be excellent. It must be thought through. It must be making sense, and it must not be breaking any of the rules that the FCC have come up with. We've been broadcasting since 1963, this student-run radio station, and the students are trained well enough to have never made a big mistake that has meant that our license has been suspended. So this is the kind of intensity and the importance that we give to actually making sure the students understand what they can and what they cannot say, either in print or in broadcast. During the semester, as well as looking at some of those academic things, the students will start to play with cameras. They will start to do interviewing skills. So in the last couple of weeks, students have interviewed each other and taken some photographs of each other and created little portfolios and profiles of one another. Most recently, every class has been interviewing one of our school police officers, our SROs, in-depth interviews. Again, they've been taking some photographs and using their research and their questions to write up those articles. So those are the sorts of things we've been doing so far. The basic skills of a journalist, interview somebody and write down what we've learned. We will start to get a little bit more creative with some of the things that we'll be doing. We're going to be looking soon at the First Amendment and Supreme Court decisions to do with schools and the First Amendment. And we'll be making some videos to do with those as well. So students are beginning to come, so there's a mixture of theory work and also practical work. Students will then start to use some of the audio equipment that we have. So we have 8 recording studios, high quality recording studios, where students start to learn how to use microphones and then to use the Audition software to make their stuff sound really, really good. All the software that we've got in the department is Adobe software. It's professional standard software. In TV, they will start to use Premiere Pro again to edit their work. And for yearbook and for newspaper, they will start looking at at Photoshop and Illustrator and the other Adobe products, which enable students to create really high quality work. So that's what they'll be doing all the way through the first semester, basically a mixture of learning about stuff, important journalistic theory, but also putting it into practice at the same time. Towards the beginning of the second semester, most students will have an inkling about whether they want to go into TV or Pinnacle, the yearbook, or Highlight, the newspaper, or WHJE, the radio. And then they will start to be given more projects in that area. So it may be that all students are given a particular topic. It might be something to do with sports, for example. And it may be that some students will go and do some work on that project with a camera, others will do it with a microphone, others will take photographs, others will be writing stories about those things. So we'll start to specialise and learn a little bit more about the particular area that they might want to specialise in the coming years. So, I guess around February time, I'm not quite sure because it's slightly different this year, about February time, they will need to start to commit as to whether or not they want to carry on doing journalism at all, or in fact, if they do want to, which of those 4 areas do they want to go into? And they will just join a certain track in there. And while the class will be doing lots of things together, there'll be times where there's the opportunity to specialise in things as well. All the work that we do is put on Canvas. So if anybody kind of falls behind, they can always be looking at the work at home. I can always be contacted through Canvas, but also my email address, djames3@ccs.co. Sorry, I'll say that again, djames3. I don't quite know what's going on. djames3@ccs.k12.in.us. Please email me if you've got any concerns or any questions. There is usually at least one assignment set every week. So always to be, if your student, your son or your daughter says they're not really doing anything, then please check PowerSchool, please check Canvas. There is always an assignment in the offing. So I hope that makes it clear. Again, be in contact with me if you need to. Thanks very much. Goodbye.